Hello. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This summer I decided to recreate my youth by shoving a tenner in my pocket, stepping outside and walking in a general northerly direction. You rejoin me on a park bench in the village of Church Lee, having walked over 27 miles on day one. A day whose highlights included a thorny escape from a farmer and a game-changing donation of pub snacks from this generous village landlady. Day 2 was bound to be even more interesting. The relatively flat South Staffordshire countryside with its overgrown footpaths was about to make way for picture-perfect rolling hills. The quest for food and water was going to become increasingly paramount, and my longing for a decent night's sleep would take me to some strange places. What the f***? That is terrifying.
Morning everyone. I don't know what time it is, but pretty uncomfortable sleep. It's one of those changing position every half an hour or so, I imagine. Except my hips just kill. There is dew on everything. You know, the bag is soaked, the grass is soaked. Except the sleeping bag. There is no dew on my sleeping bag because it's warm, I guess.
Any further attempts at sleep were pointless, so I put my shirt/pillow back on, along with yesterday's foul-smelling socks, and made my way over to the churchyard to brush my teeth at a tap I'd noticed the night before. I didn't drink any though, because my god it tasted weird. It was then time to leave the mist-shrouded streets of Church Lee behind me and set off into the even mistier fields beyond. According to Rocker Steve, there was a village to the north called Teen, which had its own co-op. This was a great opportunity to stock up on some cheap food, or at least it would be if I could actually see where I was going. So I traded the shoe-drenching grass for tarmac and followed the signposts to Teen.
Running from home, breaking ties that you'd grown, catching dreams from the clouds. The city sounds burn your soul, turn your head to the cries of loneliness in the night.
Oh my god, that's beautiful. I love that shit. Reminds me very much of the village that I actually grew up in to the age of 3, 4. Southmore in Oxfordshire, lots of nice little alleyways. But this peaceful village had more to offer than alleyways. Yes. Thank f***. That is a real result. That's what I've been waiting for. That is perfect. I feel it way down in my plums. Special 2 plums for 1. By the time I'd reached the centre of Teen, which was a larger village than I'd imagined, the Wednesday morning bustle was well underway, but most importantly, the co-op was open. After some deliberation, I decided to purchase a tin of sardines for 55p, 1.25 for 4 jam donuts, and a 75p 2-litre bottle of water, bringing my total expenditure. That'll do. For the local children of Teen, it was back to school again after the 6 weeks holiday. For me, it was back out into the lanes while the sun got to work burning off that morning dew. People talk of a north-south divide in the UK, and I think the village of Teen might be slap bang on the boundary, because from here on in, things felt distinctly more northern. How many of you can understand that? That's when you know you've walked pretty far north. The most southern northerners in the country seem to be doing pretty well for themselves. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's what I need to sleep on. But this humble Midlander was ready to ditch the tarmac and let the adventure really get going again. Right, the sun's come out to play. Stomach's feeling a little bit lighter. Oh God, I think those plums have kicked in. And I'm just about ready to hit the trails, man, hit the fields. Let's get off the road. I was then momentarily spat out onto a main road, but on the other side, I reckon this might do it. A lovely north-facing trail that, unbeknown to me, was about to lead me into one of the most beautiful places I'd been to for some time. Trying to use the GPS as little as possible at this point, I picked out a village called Oakermore on the map and made that my aim. But it didn't take long for me to seek some assistance.
Hi there.
This footpath, is this going to lead me out towards Oakermore?
Well, this heads back into Dimmingsdale.
Okay.
So that's
the Ramblers Retreat is.
The Ramblers Retreat.
I had no idea what the Ramblers Retreat was, but it sounded like my kind of place. Dimmingsdale. Yes, that sounds good. Starting to get the word Dale in there now, which is really promising. That's when you know you're entering scenic lands. Look at this. It's just so Beatrix Potter. And a little further down the track, it got even better. Nah, this is getting comically nice now. We've got waterfalls, and I've got enough nuts and donuts to last me all morning. It felt great, especially as someone from the West Midlands, to know that I'd left my doorstep and managed to end up in a place like this. As action-packed as the old missions were, they never reached these levels of exoticness. I wasn't entirely sure if I was going the right way a lot of the time. In fact, I was actually walking southeast at this point, but even if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have cared. It was beautiful. And it was over too soon. Finally, in the bin with Raphael Varane. Okay, here we are at the Ramblers Retreat. Not going to be able to buy anything, but I might be able to fill my water up in the toilette. Yeah, perfect. Gorgeous place, by the way. Lovely outdoor seating areas. Recommend this. Right, now which way am I going from here? Greenway to Oakermore. That's the one. Ah, yes, of course. This is the ex-railway track that the two ladies told me about. Great, this is going to lead me straight to Oakermore. So this will be a pretty straightforward section. It was straightforward, but it was full of beauty, history, and peace and quiet. That is silence. That is a gem of a cricket ground. I want to sleep in their pavilion. It's 11 AM. I haven't really moved that far. And here we are at Oakermore, arriving on platform 1. Turns out the railway was built in 1847, very early, and it serviced copper workers, Atlantic Wire, and family trips to Rhyl and Blackpool. But yeah, let's see what we find here. It looks stunning. The first thing I found was another water source. Oh, buzzing. Don't say I have to pay. No. And this time I did remember to get some toilet roll. And then I found this odd park/field type place. Who keeps this? Wow. More benches, good to know. There's more benches, there's more water, there's more food, there's more everything up here. More beauty. And once I'd navigated myself out of the park the naughty way,
Feels like I'm in someone's garden now.
The beauty continued.
Pub there. Cool. Shame I can't go into any of them. Place to sleep though. Could live here. Oh yeah, definitely. Beginner's pottery class. Count me in. Just getting the skeleton.
Oh, right.
You don't see one of them every day.
No, his name's Bob.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, his name's Bob. Baby on board.
It was Bob, do you mean?
No, it is Bob.
Oh, good.
Hello.
Probably best not to live here while she's still about.
As lovely as Oakamore and its bony citizens were, it was time to move on.
How about that? Yeah, it's roughly the right way.
The beauty didn't show many signs of stopping north of Oakamore either, and with the GPS still firmly tucked away, I took great pleasure in speculating my way northward through this murmurous forest and back out onto the winding country lanes.
I thought it was too good to be true. How peaceful is this? I don't think I've ever been to a quieter village. I'd happily let that be my bed for the night, even if it is midday.
But that was a lie, because I was now enjoying the action of walking more than I think I ever have. For the spirit of the adventure, the odd country lane was fine, I figured, but whenever an opportunity to tuck back into the countryside presented itself, I duly obliged, even if I did occasionally lead myself astray.
It's getting a bit spiky again. Oh, yep, a path. Oh wow, countryside. I am loving this. I hope it's coming across on camera, the sense of adventure today. Not knowing what's around the corner and having so much of the day ahead of me and still feeling all right fitness wise as I hit the 20k mark. Just feels fantastic. I've got a good feeling about today. I feel like I'm going to meet some really nice people this afternoon.
After popping out in a gorgeous patchwork of meadows and meandering through them for a good half a mile or so, the lane went too smooth and too westward for my liking, so it was back into the fields once more, where I finally found out why Marcus the chess teacher is so mistrusting of sheep.
Don't worry, sheepies. Oh. Oi! 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 How dare you charge me? I've never been charged like that by a sheep. The farmer's over there as well, so he'll help me out, hopefully. Not if I boot his sheep in the head, but...
What's crazy is it wouldn't be the only sheep attack of this trip.
Keep your sheep under control, mate.
But it was quickly forgotten as I stumbled across yet another idyllic north-facing track.
This is the shit, man. This is the countryside I've been yearning for. And no more, no less. We've got the dry stone walls now, rolling hills, grassy fields, sheep, no annoying crops, and friendly northern folk.
In this well-trodden walking country, I was able to execute my strategy perfectly, guessing my way north without hardly ever having to look at the GPS.
No more of that, please.
Over the course of the last hour or so, however, I had become hot and dehydrated.
I am hoping for a village soon.
With the next village, God knows how far away, it took quite a bit of willpower to get myself up this hill. But then, just as I was starting to hit a mental low point...
Oh! Is this a village? Or is it just a farm? Street lamp? I think this is a village. Oh, incredible. Oh, yes. Oh, I really needed that. Feels a bit like stepping back in time, this does. Still don't know what this place is called. It's not looking like there's a shop
There is a fox and goose country in though. Oh god, I cannot tell you how tempting this shit is. If it's open anyway. I hope it's not in many ways. Oh god, it is. And they're playing the Beatles. How does a pub like that stay open in this day and age? Foxed. Is that the name of the village? I thought there was a letter missing. So we're in the village of Foxed. There's a guy coming here. How you doing? It's a hot one. It is, yeah. If I keep heading north, where am I going to end up?
Where are you going for?
Well, that's the thing. Guy's getting me a bottle of water, bless him. Much needed as well. I'm sweating my arse off.
Bag of crisps and a banana there, mate.
The crisps I will take, but
Yeah.
I can't stand bananas.
Oh, no problem.
Thanks, though. I appreciate the offer.
Alright, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Best of luck, eh?
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'll probably need it. Cheers, appreciate that. M&S, still mountain water from Scotland. Freezing cold. Oh, yeah. I needed that to cool me down. The road that led north from Foxed towards Wink Hill was too tempting to pass up, even if it did take me over a gigantic hill. Been climbing a lot since Foxed. I'm actually foxed myself. From the top there were brilliant views of the Peak District, the national park that I was quickly approaching, but down in the village of Wink Hill, which is basically just a main road, there really wasn't much to see at all. In spite of this, I managed to find a half-decent spot to eat my lunch, which consisted of a tin of sardines, some nuts, and my final donut. There was even a plum tree there to provide a second dessert. Right, that's good enough for me. I want to get off these roads and into the countryside now. Now that I've got a bit more fuel in me, so let's do it. Back onto the grass. But within minutes, I'd lost the footpath and was heading straight towards one of my most feared establishments. And already I'm entering a farm. I know, that's what I'm saying. Shouldn't really be doing it, but gotta head north, mate. I'm not chicken, that's the point. I'm brave. Caution, dog, keep out, of course. Annoyingly, I messed up the filming rhythm here, but basically I approached an old farmer who, to my surprise, could not have been more helpful.
There's a little gate there somewhere, can you see it?
Yeah, I can actually, yeah.
A little gate there.
The path had moved, he explained, before taking a real interest in my adventure. I'm doing this thing where I've got £10 in my pocket, a sleeping bag in my bag, and that's it.
You're lucky man, I haven't got £10 in my bag.
See you, mate. Oh, that's annoying, that didn't film. He was hilarious. I think he just wanted a chat. Anyway, I think I'm all right now. He's told me to go past a crabapple tree, an old brick building, through a supposedly blocked off gate, so we'll see. Psst. More cocky sheep. And here come the brambles. He did warn me about this as well. He said, I hope you like brambles. If only he knew. This is such a sick path. Sort of follows the ridge of this hill line, but it's just really like higgledy-piggledy. But on this higgledy-piggledy path, my battle with the livestock was about to go up a level. Hello. Don't you come near me. No. No. With a thorn-littered drop to my left, I had little choice but to squeeze my way past the cows. I'm going round here. The middle cow made way, but the final boss had other ideas. No! No! Shoo! 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 Go! Fucking lunge at me.
Had some right ones with some animals today. Thought he was coming for me then. Big bastard. Oh, and there's the little brick building. He knows his onions. Yeah, this is where he's blocked it off. He's been right about everything. Oh.
A few fields on from Cowgate, a whole herd of cows were blocking the gate I needed to walk through. So I decided not to push my luck and risk becoming one of the 5 Brits that they kill each year, and joined a nearby country lane instead. It was here that I met one of the nicest blokes you'd ever be likely to meet.
So yeah, I'm sort of relying on goodwill a bit and humanity exactly, which is
about that. It still exists, doesn't it?
It still exists.
And then you can...
He was actually an ex-prison guard who had lived all over the country and prided himself on kindness and helping others. We were chatting away, putting the world to rights, when his neighbour, who had recently rescued these 3 dogs from Romania, strolled by.
They look like lovely dogs as
All
well.
safe from the lethal injection.
Brilliant.
If they're lucky.
If they're lucky.
Fair play to you. Yeah.
Sadly, we couldn't stand there all day though.
To meet
Have a
you.
great time. All right.
Thank you.
Nice
Cheers,
to meet
mate.
you.
Nice to meet you. He was such a lovely bloke. Filled up my water bottle, give me some sparkling water, which I don't usually drink, but I'll bloody take it right now.
He also recommended that I head to a lovely chocolate box village called Butterton, and gave me some directions to the farmyard where the footpath there started.
How you doing, cock? Apparently this is a footpath. Well, I'm not sure, but we'll give it a go. This is old school, man.
There's always a seed of doubt when you're entering a ramshackle farmyard like this one, mainly because of dogs. Somehow it just didn't feel like people were meant to pass through this place.
Excuse me?
It was a relatively young farmer this time who I had to disturb. Would he agree?
Hello? Hello, mate. Is this a footpath up here?
No, it isn't.
Oh, it isn't? My apologies. I'll head back. Okay. Is that done?
Once I'd explained myself to the farmer's wife on the way out, I continued the search for this elusive footpath, and after a couple more dodgy cut-throughs, I was on it. And it was a good job too, because this wonderful right-of-way, for the most part, was a fast track through the beautiful, roasting hot, but beautiful fields that stood between me and the hopeful village of Butterton.
Alright. How you doing? Come here. Ah, fair enough. God, they must be roasting with those atrocious barnets.
There's a telephone box.
Yeah.
Turn left. Have a nice walk down there.
Okay.
Keep left. Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Are you in the pub?
I might do, I'm tempted, yeah.
Yeah, by the church.
Is it a good pub?
Yeah, very good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
For that whole conversation I couldn't see. Oh, yes. I think that's our village. And look at the hills beyond. Oh yeah, that is a good feeling. Nothing better than tired legs trudging towards a cluster of buildings surrounding a church steeple. I am cooked, man. I am cooked.
I was also trespassing, so it was a quick hop back onto the footpath, which popped me out in the southern fringes of my latest village.
Sweet. That is sick. A river that flows down the road. Lots of wares for sale here, but nothing that applies to me. The plums and the tomatoes have gone as well. Not good enough.
Butterton was my kind of village.
This is so nice.
But could it be the place where I'd get my head down?
Tree house down there, big one. This is absolutely... Jesus. What the fuck? That is terrifying. Oh my god. Maybe I'll sleep in that bed. Kick the wolf out. You can f*** off.
At this point, it was very dangerous for me to be standing anywhere near a pub, but I thought I'd at least chat to a couple of punters outside while I rested my legs. One of them very kindly bought me half a pint of lime and soda.
Is that for me? Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
we can wash with it if you want, but I was suggesting.
Might tip it on my head, to be fair.
But as far as a final destination for day 2 was concerned, I had a better plan.
See you later.
Kind of grateful that I didn't have to sleep anywhere near these evil creations, I set off on the final chapter of day 2. 5 miles to the northeast was Hartington, a beautiful village situated in the very heart of the peaks, attracting its fair share of walkers and tourists. I'd ran through it whilst training for my Dribbling Britain video, and although it was a small place, I knew that there were at least 2 pubs and just generally more of a buzz. I didn't have that much time to capitalise on this buzz though, so, much to the annoyance of my legs, I decided to start running down into a place called the Manifold Valley. Down in this snaky scar in the landscape, just after crossing this closed off bridge with great relief, a large swathe of tarpaulin threatened to change my plans once again.
Oh my god. Look at that thing. Massive tent with deck chairs. You've got to be kidding me. That is so tempting.
But it wasn't to be.
Seems to be someone's private house. I think I'll keep moving.
It was in this valley that I decided to figure out what my plan of action actually was. Obviously, I'd have a quick look around in case there was a good place to sleep, but the pubs and their tipsy revellers had the potential to lead to greater things. There was the issue of food as well. I only had a packet of crisps and nuts to my name, and with the village shops certain to be closed, the prospect of something like a bowl of chips was very appealing. Thanks to my military pace, I was soon back up onto the fields, where seductive greasy aromas arrived sooner than expected.
Oh god.
From this angle, first impressions were great, but on closer inspection, it too didn't feel right. It did have an incredible beer garden though.
This is sick, to be fair. I'd love to come here on a normal day. I was so tempted to stay then, but made a split decision and I'm sticking with it. Going to Hartington. It felt more like a place you go to eat, where the staff are all waiters and not really a homely locally pub. That was my thinking. Hopefully we find that in Hartington.
And speaking of things I'd like to find in Hartington...
What? There's a fish and chips? You're joking, that's perfect. That couple said there wasn't one. I hope it's still open.
Chips from the chippy would cost me 1/3 of the price, which was great news. What wasn't so great was the weather forecast, which now reckoned that it might rain at about 2 AM.
We've only just got into Derbyshire. How the...
Having spent the previous night on a bench, I felt like I deserved better than to spend this night on a bench in the rain. My mind was now made up. I was going to commit to Plan Pub.
Okay, we are entering the beautiful village of Hartington. You're gonna love it, but am I gonna love it at 4 AM tomorrow morning? Time to implement Plan Pub.
There were no guarantees that Plan Pub would work, far from it. So I spent 15 minutes or so checking for a decent place to sleep, preferably one with a shelter, but there was nothing. That, however, paled in comparison to my next realisation.
There's no chippy. I was sold a lie.
I'd actually read the sign wrong, but having racked up another 27 miles on day 2, my stomach wasn't about to settle for anything less than greasy, piping hot potato.
Sorry, am I in your way?
The one pub that did serve food had a few friendly punters in it.
Poor dog's knackered.
It's so knackered it can't turn very quickly at the minute.
Oh, join the club.
But parting with $3.50 for a bowl of chips just didn't feel right for this adventure. So, bravely and somewhat proudly, I walked out the door. Yep, this is the same pub, and I had little choice but to surrender to the chips. But frankly, I enjoyed every last goddamn 18p mouthful. The huge downside, however, was that I'd already priced myself out of buying a pint, a key part of my plan. But then, out of nowhere, this friendly barman did something very special.
This kind gent is pouring me a pint.
Yeah, you can't walk that far without a pint.
I did offer him a couple of quid, but he didn't accept. By 9 p.m. my stomach was full, but the same could not be said for the pub. In a cruel twist of fate, the place had completely emptied, and phase 2 of the plan, which was to befriend some merry revellers, was over before it had begun.
Thank you.
See you later.
Cheers for looking after me. Dreading this. And back out into the cold dark night.
Unless...
Been busy tonight?
Not really, to be honest. It's been quite steady.
2:25 exactly.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Pub number 2, which catered for the humble drinker, happened to serve an incredibly cheap pint. There was a group of blokes drinking outside, but I decided to leave them be, enjoy the warmth while I could, and get to know the bar staff. But then, another amazing thing happened.
I would like a pint of London Pride, please. Thank you.
No problem.
This is Adam, and he's just bought me a pint.
Anytime, honestly.
Cheers.
No worries.
Adam was a seasoned mountain guide who was staying at the local youth hostel. He was outside drinking with some colleagues, and thankfully for me, it was his round. While he was at the bar, we got chatting, and naturally, being an adventurer himself, he loved the concept of mine and wanted to help in any way he could.
This night's starting to take shape. If I can get drunk enough and stay here long enough, then everything else will fall into place.
With each sip of beer, the idea of sleeping outside on the grassy bank that I'd found earlier became more and more acceptable, and thanks to Adam, the sips just kept on coming.
Adam's bought me another pint.
Yes, there's milk in the
I
fridge.
feel pretty pissed. I shouldn't do. I guess I haven't eaten enough.
But the more tipsy I got and the less I gave a shit where I slept, the more chatty and presumably charming I became.
Does that mean red wine?
Yeah, it's just a, you know.
Colloquial term.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It may have been charm or it may have just been pity, but the chatting seemed to pay off.
So Adam here, who bought me, it is Adam, isn't it? Yeah.
So,
He's bought me 2 pints now, which, you know, breaks my heart because I want to buy him 2 back. But
one day.
one day, when I'm in Manchester, right?
Yeah.
The manager behind the bar said, "I've got a room for you." This is
Okay.
what he said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was like, "I've got a room for you. It's not clean." I was like, "Pfft, not clean? Like, I'd rather that than a Jewy bank." And then literally 10 seconds later, Adam walks in and said, "My colleagues have gone and he's at the YMCA." Not the YMCA, fucking hell.
Wow.
Well, you know. No, the YHA,
Yeah,
is it?
yeah.
The youth hostel. And he's told me that there's a bunch of yurts or wigwams or whatever you want to call them on the edge of the perimeter of the grounds, which I should be able to just sneak in,
Yeah.
unzip. I just don't want to like startle.
You wouldn't startle anyone, honestly. Well, anyway, the choice is yours. We'll put it like that.
I don't have to sleep on the grass or on a bench. I'm very grateful for how things have turned out. Beer solves everything, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay, here we go.
The main entrance is that way, but if you come this stuff, there's the car park this way. Yeah.
Hushed voices. Oh boy.
Using a back route that Adam had discovered earlier that day whilst going for a ciggy, we approached the yurts.
Hello. All good. Anyway, man, thank you so much. If I'm in Manchester, mate, maybe we can link up for a beer.
Pick me anytime.
Oh, God. That is what dreams are made of, man. That is amazing. That might not seem like a lot to you guys, but when you think you're going to be sleeping on a dewy grass bank
and it might rain. That is heaven.
How's it turned out like this? I'm well fed. I'm pretty pissed. And I've got one of the comfiest beds you could ever wish for. And I've met some lovely people. And this is why you embark on an adventure, especially if there's uncertainty and trepidation involved. See you in the morning. Good as new.
And that is what you call a morning view. And thanks to that comfy bed, I'm replenished and I can actually enjoy it.
Are you open already?
Can be, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I'll have a boost. I could do the boost. 6p left. Can't do a lot with that. Thank you very much.
See you, bye.
Bye. I swear these have got smaller.
Yep, that was going to be my final purchase of the trip. Plan Pub had been a roaring success, but it had eaten through the tenner faster than I ate through this boost bar. Do not fear though, because I wasn't ready to go home just yet. There was still some juice in these legs, and my intention was to keep walking until I reached the spa town of Buxton, where I figured the adventure would probably draw to a natural close.
It's peace and quiet again.
Before then though, it might not be plain sailing. My throat was already drier than this bull's. And with nothing else to eat except these 2 salty snacks, finding water was going to be an important part of the day.
Oisky poisky.
Then there was the navigation. Today I decided to scrap the GPS altogether and rely on signposts and locals instead, starting with the lady back in the shop who had urged me to follow this country lane until the gravel made way for dirt.
Here we go, guys, onto the path, and as far as I've been told, I'm following signs for Crowdicott.
This bridleway that followed the upper reaches of the Dove Valley really was magical, and right at the very heart of it stood the earthworks of an ancient Iron Age and later Norman castle.
What a place for a castle.
The view from the castle may have been the best of the whole trip, but there were enemies down below that weren't going to let me relax for too long.
Fuck's sake. Hey up. It's a bull as well.
The bull in the end was pretty chill. It's the women you want to watch out for.
Oh, fucking hell, man. Come on. Come on, go. Go. I ain't going in there, man. Christ, are you done? Alright, that's it now. She's had enough breakfast. Right, I'm gonna have to climb the ridge. Can't be asked to wait any longer. I hope you're happy. I've got my feet wet now because of you. I have talked to way too many animals on this trip.
Soon after this, I reached the village of Crowdicott, where I was hoping to make some progress on the water and directions front, but it was quiet.
I'll pass on a pint. I don't fully know if I'm supposed to be going this way. I think it is up here because it's up the valley. I'm just following the valley. I need some more water too. Quite badly, but I haven't seen anyone. I haven't seen a soul for ages.
But then, a lifeline.
See if I can get some water in here cheekily.
I was now sorted for water. I wasn't really that hungry because of the slight hangover, but I wasn't that tired because of the great night's sleep I'd had. Yeah, my legs were hurting, but frankly for me these days, if I'm actually on a flat surface, I'm pretty happy, especially if my surroundings look like this.
Morning.
Good morning. We've got a cool start.
Cool start today, yeah.
Getting hotter.
I'm heading for Buxton. Am I heading in the right direction?
You are, yeah.
Good,
yeah.
good. That's relieving. I started in a city called Lichfield, if you know that.
Yeah, crumbs, yeah.
Yeah.
That's quite a walk.
It has been quite an adventure, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to this friendly local chap, I was completely sorted for directions to Buxton. He told me of a scenic route that would completely avoid roads. All I had to do was remember it.
Hello. That is the definition of a duck pond, isn't it?
First though, I was to pass through the village of Earl Sterndale, a place so remote and lost in time that people still actually owned British cars there.
There's a dip in there.
I loved this little village, but when I say it was lost in time, I'm not joking. Just take a look at the name of the local pub. From here on in, all I had to do was remember Peter Capaldi's instructions, and all being well, I'd be arriving in Buxton at the sprightly hour of 11 AM. As prophesied by Peter, I reached an absolutely enormous stone quarry and followed its perimeter further and further up into what was definitely the most rugged and remote landscape I'd seen yet on the trip. And speaking of the trip, was it a success? Had I achieved what I'd set out to do? I'd say for the most part, yes. My realistic aim was to meet friendly people, wander through beautiful landscapes, slurp on a few plums and sleep in some mad places, all of which I succeeded in doing. Did I have romantic ideas of quests and favours and invitations to join lonesome farmers called Frank at their kitchen table for a bowl of rabbit stew? Well, yeah, obviously, but there was always next time, and besides, I reckon Adam and the yurt was a pretty great alternative. I've come to accept that I'll probably never quite be able to recreate that sense of childlike wonder, just as I'll never be able to travel back to a time where people didn't drive cars or watch the news. But I can now appreciate the countryside in other ways. I can inspire youngsters to explore. And best of all, I can use beer to lubricate the wheels of interaction. On the final descent towards Buxton, I was attacked by another sheep.
And what?
Before joining a local chap who told me that I must walk the naughty way into town.
Aim for the trees in the distance there.
Okay, and how do I get down here?
Just squeeze through there.
Just hop.
Or over the...
Naturally, I obliged, adding one last mile to the impressive total that I'd covered since leaving my front door just over 2 days before. In classic style, I was to be picked up by a disgruntled loved one from Morrison's on the outskirts of Buxton, where the adventure officially ended and I had the luxury of choosing whatever food I wanted, which for some reason turned out to be a chocolate milkshake, a lamb samosa, and a whole block of pate.
Don't judge me.
In actual fact, Verity had been visiting friends up north while I was trekking, so she didn't need to go out of her way for once. Although the journey back wasn't going to be too enjoyable for her.
Meanie.
They're really bad.
Aside from the foul stench, there were 2 detours to be made. The first being the Shrewsbury Arms to drop off a bottle of wine and a card, and the second...
I'm going back to get that lemonade. Didn't think I'd be back here again. There we go. No littering from me today, sir. It's thirsty work, actually. Everyone, thanks once again for tuning in to one of my daft, whimsical adventures. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this has made you think twice about just how easily adventure can be found. It's on your doorstep, quite literally. So go out there and find it. Till next time.